Welcome, everybody, to the A Little Less Fear podcast. I'm your producer and host of the show, Dr. Lino Martinez. This is your motivational podcast of people's incredible journeys. Oh, yeah, let's do this. Welcome back, everybody, to the A Little Less Fear podcast. Today, I would love to welcome back award-winning, best-selling author, speaker, transformation mentor, and intuitive, Katharine Giovanni, helping you drop the baggage, keep the wisdom, and heal through forgiveness. She was previously on my episode 268, which was titled How to Forgive. And now here she is back on episode 289, and we're going to be talking about intuition. What in the world is intuition? What is our intuition? And why is this topic important? Katharine, welcome back to Little Less Fear podcast. So great to see you again.
Thanks so much for having me back. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you and your energy. Absolutely love your energy. So, Katharine, why intuition? Why are we going to be talking about intuition? First off, why does it even mean? Why is it something important for you?
Intuition, we've all been taught since the day we were born that only special people can tap into the other side. And if you go to these magical people, they'll ask your questions and they'll ask for you and they'll deliver the answers to you. Well, that's a load of poppycock and bunk because everybody is intuitive.
I just want to refresh. I want to make sure people are understanding. When you're saying special people, you mean like people will hire psychics and other people.
Psychics or even ministers and pastors and priests and I'll talk to God, that kind of thing, or go to a psychic no disrespect to psychic because I am psychic, but my point is everybody on the planet is psychic. Everybody on the planet is intuitive. I don't use the word psychic because I don't like it. No disrespect, but I prefer the word intuitive because I think it's more encompassing of what we really are. That everybody on the planet sees, well, I have to get this right. I messed it up the other day. Sees, hears, knows, or feels their intuition. Now, there's actually 12 different ways you can hear your intuition, but I usually talk about the main 4. Clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, and claircognizant. Everybody on the planet is one of those. 10 out of 10.
Can you repeat that again? You said everybody hears, sees, feels, and what was
and knows.
And knows. Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's claircognizant. It's clear hearing, clear seeing, clear knowing, clear feeling. That's what it really, but that's what it means. And you wouldn't be a human if you didn't have intuition. You'd be dead. Everybody does it. Now, see, one of the things about intuition is people think that only happens when they're in trouble, in emergency situations, in life-saving life-saving situations. A friend of mine fell asleep at the wheel. And just as her car was about to hit this concrete, bridge, she woke up to the voice, "Wake up!" And it was the loudest voice. She woke up with a start, saw what was happening, turned the wheel, and it saved her life.
Mm-hmm.
People, there's also a horrible story. I don't know if you remember, but
can I ask a question about that wake up?
Sure. I have another one right behind it.
You. Was this audible that this person heard the voice?
Oh yeah, they heard it. It was like the voice was sitting right next to her and it filled her head. Filled the whole car.
How can we differentiate intuition versus like an angel that was in there to talk to us and guide us?
Does it matter?
What a great question. No, I guess it doesn't matter. No.
Does it matter? It's a being higher than yourself. You could call it source. You can call it the angels. You can call it your higher self. You can call it God. You can call it Tom, Dick, Harry, or Phyllis. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really matter. It's a state that's higher than you. Usually I like to call it universe, or you can call it source, or you can call it your higher self.
Okay.
You could call it angels. I talk to the angels all the time. But it's a voice that is outside of yourself, and it is filled with love. It is filled with light. It's never going to tell you to walk out into the middle of traffic and kill yourself.
Right.
It's just not going to do that. That's not who we're talking about. And not everybody can. I hear words in my head, but not everybody hears words. Some people see things, some people feel it, some people know it, some people do it through their other senses. But a lot of people think they can only do it when these wild life-saving things. There was a earthquake or something that happened in Miami. I want to say hurricane or an earthquake or something like that. I think it was down in Miami. It's in my book, The Little Bird on Your Shoulder. And half the building was just destroyed. And the night before, this woman, without any hesitation, for some strange reason, she put her medication in her handbag. Never done that before. Had no idea why she was putting her medicines that she needs every day into her handbag. She woke up that morning and the building was shaking. Half of it was, falling apart. And she hears very clearly, run. And she ran. She was guided to run to the other side, not the staircase next to her apartment. She ran to the other side of the building that was actually still standing, and it saved her life. And she was one of the only people that survived that disaster.
That's amazing.
Now, the little bird in my shoulder has saved my life, not once, not twice, 3 times. Not that I'm counting particularly.
And how did that
The
happen?
first the first time it saved my life is if you look in the dictionary under the word exercise, you will never see my name next to it because I'm allergic to it. Been allergic to it for a very long time. And so when I heard the voice, you need to start running, I looked up at my ceiling, and we were not living here. We were living in Wake Forest at the time. And I looked up and said, "You're out of your mind." Yeah, I talk back to it all the time. I'm a brat. But I couldn't get it out of my head. You need to run. You need to run. You need to run. And anybody who's clairaudient like I am knows that if you don't do what your higher self wants you to do, it's going to stay in your head, until you deliver the message or you do what it is.
Right.
So I did the Couch to 5K running program, which is right online. It's
Wow.
brilliant. It does exactly what you think it does. You go from the couch to the 5K. It's a brilliant program. And eventually I ran a 5K. This was in
Oh my God.
this was in 2011.
That's
Took me months
amazing.
to train. And I went from a size 16 down to an 8. I
What?
knew the weight was coming off too fast. I knew it was. I could feel it. And the day before my birthday, it was May 19th, something like that. I always did a breast self-check in the shower, and I found a lump. So I
Oh,
went to the doctor. And the fact that once she felt the lump, she ran out of the exam room. Doctors don't usually run out of exam rooms. They walk. They don't usually sprint. So I knew something was wrong. And apparently mammograms don't work on me because the breasts were dense, which would have been nice to know ahead of time. So they couldn't see the lump, but everybody could feel it. And it boils down to make a long story short, the surgeon said, if I hadn't taken up running, I would be dead. It was in
wow.
a very strange spot. And because of the weight I had at the time, we would have never found it. And I would not be here talking to you today.
That's incredible.
It
That's just
saved my life.
amazing.
It turned out to be stage 3 triple positive breast cancer. And in June, it'll be 13 years clean.
My goodness. Well, congratulations. But that's really, and congratulations that you listened to your intuitive, to your higher voice.
But that's the thing, you can talk to your intuition. If you have found yourself, you've hit a wall and you don't know where you're going to take your life. You don't know, maybe you need a new job. You definitely need more money. Maybe your health is bad. Maybe you're in a relationship where you'd like to be in a relationship. So you're looking for the answers outside of yourself. You're listening to the podcast, you're reading books, you're going out and doom scrolling, you're going on to TikTok and Instagram and watching videos and doing what they say. And there's, all of these things. Oh, try this exercise. Stop. The answers are inside of you. You already have the answers. It's just a matter of tapping into the little bird on your shoulder. You either see, feel, hear, or know.
Let me ask you a question about the little bird on your shoulder. What about using like pendulums?
Yeah,
Does a
sure.
pendulum,
You can
is
use
that
a pendulum.
the same thing the pendulum uses the energy of your higher self? And that's assuming that the person using it correctly, correct? because
Well, I was about to say, yeah, pendulums are great. And you're saying, I want a yes. And your hand just kind of starts going
sure,
unconsciously. Yes. You
sure.
can also do body. You can also ask your body. Um, if you link your fingers like this, link your
Oh
thumbs
yeah,
and your
right.
forefingers,
Uh-huh.
and if you say show me yes and then
Mhm.
show me no, your fingers will just,
Okay, show
fingers will
me a
match.
yes.
Now say show me no.
Show me a no. Oh, okay. So
There you
no
go.
comes apart and yes stays together for me.
Another one that I've done, but you can't do this one in public because they're going to think you're a nut. You put your you put your arm out
Yeah.
and you are as steady as a rock. And if I ask it to show me yes, it usually goes up and it could be a tiny, tiny bit. And if I ask it to show me no, it goes down. You may think I'm crazy until you try these things. A friend of mine stands up straight as a rod. I won't do it here, but she says, show me yes. And her body very, very gently will move backwards. And then she said, show me no. And her body will very, very gently move forwards. In other words, the answers are inside of you. It's a matter of learning how to tap into it. And I have some exercises that we can talk about on how to tap into your intuition. But everybody has one of the four ways. Now, I was born clairaudient, and I kept it a secret for 40 years. Why did I not tell anybody what I could do? Because I was bullied in school, because I was different, because I knew things. And I think it scared people. And
Sure.
because I was bullied in school and it was the 1970s,
Mm-hmm.
I knew my family and the people at school would give me medicine and throw me into a psych ward if I told anybody, because society back then had this really nasty habit, and it still does to this day, of if you just exhibit a smidgen of intuition or psychic ability, they'd slap a "you're crazy as a bedbug" sticker across your forehead and give you meds. And I decided I wanted to fit in, so I didn't tell anybody. And I mean nobody. I kept it to myself. And I kept it to myself for 40 years, even in business when I was one of the founders of the concierge industry. But I still delivered messages to people. I am the queen of flipping language. I could deliver a message to you, you will never know it. You'll just think I'm smart. But, people would look at me and I'd say, things like, have you ever thought about, and then I'd deliver the message, or I'd flip it and I'd say, it would be a really good thing for you to do. And then I'd deliver the message, stuff like that. And inevitably I'd be called out. How could you possibly know that? I was thinking about that just an hour ago. I would just casually say, I've just years of experience. I've been coaching for a long time.
Well, what makes you though? I mean, what within you makes you feel the drive to give somebody a message, to relay someone a message? Is it like a gut, a feeling that you come? Is it going through you, or is it a message that you feel it's coming from somewhere else that you feel inclined to deliver immediately, or do you actually even get into your human mind to think about like, should I say this? Should I not? Or do you just let it go, let it out?
It's a push. It's a push.
It's a push.
If
Okay.
I don't deliver the message, usually their name sings in my head for a while, and I have to email them or something like that.
Wow.
If somebody's in my head, back when I was still first learning how to do this, I would get somebody's name in my head, and sometimes it was a psychic or something like that. And because of my ego, would get involved, say, "Oh, they must have a message for me."
Right.
No, 10 out of 10 times that was completely wrong. I had a message for them. So now when I get the messages for people, I actually just deliver them. And I usually ask first, are you open to receiving a message? And 9 out of 10 people will say yes. And sometimes I'll get a no. And that's merely because I'm vibrating at a different level than they are. Now, what do I mean by that? That's a whole nother rabbit hole. But
Sure.
let me tell you a
I
funny
love that
story.
rabbit hole too, by the way.
Yeah, let me tell you a funny story that explains this rabbit hole.
Okay.
Everything on the planet vibrates, including this little silver microphone. Science
Yeah.
has taught us that everything has a vibration. And sometimes it's a unique vibration. And when you get into a room with somebody who's not vibrating, their energy isn't the same as yours, it can be like oil and water.
Oh yeah.
Years ago, this is a funny story. Some intuitive friends and I were having lunch at this little bed and breakfasty kind of place. And the waitress came over. Remember, I'm a concierge in customer service. I trained concierge for over 25 years, so I know my stuff. And she came over And she politely took everybody's order till she came to me. Then she went to the other side of the table and she just kind of chucked her chin like that. I thought, okay, she's having a bad day. I ignored it because I usually do. And I gave her my order and she ran back to the kitchen. I'm looking around the dining room. It's not that full. Why are you running to the kitchen?
Yeah, why is she?
I kind of ignored it. She came back with the food. Wait for it. She politely put everybody's plate in front of them till she got to me. And she went back. She did her little dance again. She ran over to the other side of the table and she threw the plate across the table like a frisbee. And it landed in front of me. And the sandwich was a grilled cheese or something, kind of almost flopped on the table. And then
Wow.
she ran back to the kitchen. She even faster than before. I thought she was going to get holy water and she was going to come sprinkle it on me or something. And my friend leaned over and said, Kath, she's scared of your energy. It's like,
Oh.
aha, because this has happened to me before. So
Mhm.
because I'm a brat, I'm originally from New York and I can be a little bit of a brat. I almost wanted to just say boo next time she came over, but I did not. My concierge training kicked in and I just politely, we politely said thank you. But this happens. Sometimes you can be in the frozen section of the grocery store and you could be reaching for something and nobody was around you before. Now everybody's around you. And strangely, they're all reaching for the same product that you are. What's up
Interesting.
with that?
Yeah, what is up with that?
Or you can be in the opposite could happen and you'll shake somebody's hand and they'll take one look at you, take a step back, and the color will drain from their face. You haven't said a word. You haven't said a word. You scared them. It's your energy. So don't think, you've got bad
But
breath,
why is
spinach
that? Why is the energy
tea.
scary though?
I think it's because it's so different than yours. It literally knocks them on their feet. This is why people get divorced because all of a sudden their energy changes. One person's energy, and I'm not saying it's good or bad, they just change.
Mm-hmm.
And one person goes down one road, another person goes down another road, and their energy doesn't match anymore. They're vibrating differently. That's
Sure.
why kids get bullied. Because that's why I got bullied, because I was vibrating differently than everybody else in my class.
That makes
So
sense.
they were trying to put a round peg into a square hole, and I didn't fit.
Mhm. I have a question. This might be taking a different direction, but it's just what's coming to me. So if we live following universal laws, you know,
Mhm.
karmic laws, and if energy matches our energy, what's up with the energy when energy doesn't match our energy? Is that
When
karmic
energy
then? Is there a lesson that we have to learn at that moment?
There might be one of the gifts that I have is I get past life information for people. And what a lot of people don't understand is you can carry traumatic events and lessons from life to life to life.
Hmm.
And some of the trauma you might be experiencing in this lifetime might be caused by something that happened in your past. For example, I had a client who came to me and he couldn't sleep and he wasn't dating, but he really couldn't sleep. And he tried everything. He tried going to the doctor, he tried the tapes, he tried medicine, he tried everything. And by the time he found me, he looked at me and said, I'll do anything you tell me. He was a federal law enforcement officer, not usually intuitive. He said, I'll do anything you tell me to do. So all of a sudden, I get this vision, and it was a sheriff, and he was in bed with his wife, and he was beloved in the town, and he was a really good sheriff, and it was a really happy lifetime for him. And then I watched his wife as she picked up a pillow and she smothered it and killed him in bed.
Oh, goodness.
And it happened right before Easter. And he came to me right before Easter because he was practically having panic attacks. And the reason it came up then and not later is because he was finally ready to clear it. So we talked about the vision. We talked about that lifetime. I took him through my forgiveness system. So he forgave the entire lifetime. And then I checked in with him a couple weeks later and he was sleeping like a baby through the night and he started to date again.
Oh, wow, that's incredible and beautiful at the same time.
So
So,
these things can
yeah.
follow you from lifetime to lifetime. And if you don't, and the thing about it is, if you don't learn the lesson in one lifetime, well, then you're probably going to come down and learn it in the next one.
Okay.
It's like if you commit, and I tried to commit suicide in the 8th grade, and if I had done that, I would have probably had to come down again to this planet
Yeah.
and do whatever it was I was supposed to do before I bailed.
Which
That
makes
might
sense.
get you a lot of emails. Please don't email me. That's
So that's incredible. So, okay, so energy is gonna match us no matter what, and if it doesn't match us,
yeah.
most likely it's a lesson of some sort that we need to learn.
It's either a lesson or something you're supposed to notice. If you walk into a room, if you are, let's go through the ways that you can be intuitive, your
Okay.
psychic ability, if it will, your sixth sense. You can call it anything you like. Some people hear words in their head. That's what I was born with. Now I'm all the clairs at this point because I've just been doing this so long. I kind of do it all at once. But
Mm-hmm.
I started by being clairaudient, meaning I hear words in my mind. And when I was a little girl, I used to talk to myself. And then I used to answer myself. It sounded just like my own voice in my own head. Imagine my surprise when I discovered that I was the only one doing it, which is why I decided to keep it to myself. Some people see visions in their head. Can you see your childhood bedroom in your mind right now?
Yes, I can.
Can you see the bed?
Yes, I can.
Can you see the color of the walls? Or at least you know
Yes,
what the
but
color
could that
is.
only be though because I have pictures of it from,
No, that's clairvoyance.
so okay, hold on.
Not everybody can do that. And
Even if there's pictures, people can't do it?
some people can't see visions in their head. Some people
Interesting.
don't hear words in their head. When I'm reading, I hear the words in my mind. Some people don't hear anything.
That's
I know it
really
blows my mind
unbelievable. I
because
did not know that, Catherine. I thought everybody did.
no, not everybody can do that. That's called clairvoyance. Now, clairvoyance does not mean you're going to see a ghost walk through the door in the next 30 seconds. You might, but I highly doubt. It's not a Stephen King thing. It means that the universe talks to you in pictures. It talks to you in ways that you can see. You see the answer online. You see the answer on a nature walk. You see the answer in the written word. You see the answer when you're reading
Yes.
some music.
Yes.
That's how the intuition talks to you. You ask a question and then you will see the answer. You'll see a bird, you'll see something online, you'll be watching a movie and they'll say something. It's like, "Oh, wow, that's it." Now, those of us that hear, we literally hear words. When I ask a question, I hear the answer in my mind.
Hmm.
Then you have the feeling people.
Hmm.
They're called empaths. And they're also called clairsentient. There's two versions of it. And what this really means is you feel the answer. You can walk into a room
Hmm.
and it just feels off. I'm an empath too.
Hmm.
Shocker. And I can walk into a room and the vibe just might be off. And you may or may not know why it's off. Some
Hmm.
empaths know exactly why the vibe is off, some of them don't. That's the difference between empathic and clairsentient. And and you're always right. So when they ask a question, they'll feel the answer. They'll feel love. They'll feel hate. They literally go through all the feelings. Some very, very talented empaths could be talking to you, and if you have a headache, they will get a headache.
Yeah.
And that's really horrible. That's when I teach them how to bubble themselves and use light jackets and these kinds of things. Because if you're a true empath, you really have to protect yourself because you're going to make yourself
Oh,
sick.
yeah, definitely.
The claircognizant people, my best friend is claircognizant, and it's taken me years to convince her that she's actually intuitive. And it's because one minute they don't know it, and the next minute it just downloads into their mind. Boom. My son is like that. He just one minute he doesn't know it, and the next minute, boom, he knows it. Just
Mhm.
download the information, just downloads into their brain, and boom, they know it.
So
Now, if you're
claircognizant is
not
like
a
a download of
mathematician,
information.
you're not going to get math formulas, that kind
Okay.
of thing.
Claircognizant is like a download of information
It's
type thing.
clear knowing. You literally, one minute you
Oh,
don't
clear
know it, the
knowing.
next minute you
Hmm.
are. Now, if you ask, how
I
do I
see.
cure cancer? It's not going
Yeah.
to download the information because you don't, it's, you, personally, I don't have the bandwidth. They could give me the answer and I wouldn't understand it and I wouldn't know it. So it's going to download information that's going to help you personally.
Absolutely love this. And as you're saying all this, I feel quite literally confident to say that I'm all the Claires. And
Yeah.
so being all the Claires though, and I'm certain that if listeners might relate to this, maybe some of them are all the Claires as well, maybe some are one or two or three of all the ones we named. but I think that it could be a little confusing sometimes for me when I'm that tapped in. And so I start to, and
It
I also
is.
want to speak for others because I'm feeling that if I feel like this, others might feel like this. When do we really know I mean, what to really listen to? How do we
You know,
know?
that's the $1 million question right there.
Mhm.
I have spent so much time. That's why I tell people that intuitives have a real hard time doing their own stuff
Yeah, I'll
for
say.
their own family and your own life, because you sit here and you think, am I hearing what I want to hear, or
Yeah.
am I hearing what's actually true? I can I can give readings to other people all day long, but when it comes to
Mhm.
me and my family, it's I often have to do the body test. I often have to go to other intuitives because I have a little stable of them,
Mhm.
and it's hard to do your own stuff. Now, the way you have to tap into you have to tap into the love. The way I do it is
Love
if
that.
it's something that's really, really pressing on me,
Hmm.
um, I will go out and I'll take a walk. And it's literally, I've been known to call it a vibe walk. And I will go out and I'll take a walk. And I will have this burning question, worry in my head. And I will do my best to put it to the side. Because if I need to make a decision, I will often walk away and do something else. And I
Hmm.
will call it, let me meditate on that for a minute. I'm not meditating on it. I'm literally letting it roll around in my head like a marble.
Yes.
And I'm going to kind of let it perk like a cup of coffee. And then I'm going to come back.
Hmm.
And usually I have the answer. So I will go out into nature and I will pay attention to the signs around me. I'll pay attention to whether I feel love or hate, or if I'm cold or if I'm hot. And I'll pay attention to the birds and I'll pay attention to what I see around me. And then by the time I come back, I usually have a pretty good idea of the direction I want to go. It may not be the answer, but I'll have a pretty good idea of the direction that I want to go. It's
And
very
I
hard
mean,
to do your own stuff.
it really is. Thanks so much for sharing that because I feel it's really important for people to connect with nature and go on walks. Like I love walking, absolutely love it. And I love that. See, when I go for walks, and almost always, especially when I'm super stressed out, I'll definitely go for a walk. But I haven't really felt it in my body. I guess I haven't tuned into the way that you described. I would love to do that. I'm gonna do that today when we get off this podcast. I'm gonna go
Here's
for
an
a walk.
exercise you can try.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. Years ago, I was training somebody who wanted to start a concierge business, which is, basic business. And we got through all the business basics, how to do a business plan, blah, 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 website, all that kind of crap. Then we got to the money. And I said, well, what are you charging? She said, $5. And I looked at her and I said, for what? She said, everything. And I said, what if the task, it's like an errand, it's like TaskRabbit or errand runners, right? I said, what if the
Mhm.
task takes you 4 hours to do? Well, I still
Yeah.
charge $5.
Oh my
And I
goodness.
looked at her and I said, I was actually kind of horrified. And I said, how do you make money? She said, I'm not. That's why I'm here. And I said, well, how did you start this business? Oh, I bought it from my boss who sold it to me for a really good price. And I said, how did she make money? She said she wasn't. That's why she sold it to me. I'm pulling my hair out at this point. And I said, well, in my head, I'm thinking, easy fix, raise your prices. Not a
Yep.
problem. So I
Right.
said, we'll just raise your prices. She says, oh, no, I can't do that. And I said, why on earth not? She said, because all my customers are used to paying $5 and they won't pay anymore and I'll lose everybody. And I thought, okay, I'm just smacking my head against the wall at this point.
Oh
So
yeah.
I gave her a break,
Yeah.
and it was really for me. So I walked away. And I literally walked around the hotel where I was, and I looked at the paintings on the walls, and I looked at the carpet, not kidding. I walked in and I walked outside, and I people watched for a little while. And when I came back, I said, I know what you should do. Why don't you charge $5 for every 15 minutes of service? She's still earning birdseed, but at least they still see $5 and she makes a little bit more money.
That's excellent. Yes. And she
That
took that.
answer didn't really come from my brain. It came from my higher self, but I walked away. So
Mhm.
if you have a burning question, whatever it is, write it down on a piece of paper, whatever problem you're having, then go on the vibe walk. And I
Mhm.
want you to keep that question and make it like a marble. I just want you to let it rattle around your head. Pay attention to the scenes around you. don't think about the problem at all. Think about anything else. And then come back and write down the first words that form in your mind after you read that question. Write them down.
Absolutely love that. And I'm going to try that tonight. What a great task to do. And talk about clarity and really getting to know how to get these thoughts out and
Yeah.
into feelings even. Because for me, like I feel like there's so many times where I get this feeling and I don't want to be wrong about my feeling. I think that's where I get stuck. Like, am I doing the right thing? But this, my gut's telling me this. This is what feels right, but am I doing the right thing? It's like, why do I
Well, your
keep
brain is
questioning it
because
if I'm feeling?
your brain is talking you out of something your heart is telling you to do, because that's how we were all trained. When
Yeah.
I was growing up in the 60s and 70s and the 80s, and I was taught that your heart doesn't know where it should go. Ignore what your heart is telling to. Your brain is where your power is. That's
All
what we
right.
were taught,
That
and they
is
were
what we were taught.
wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It was absolutely backwards. Your
Mm-hmm.
heart knows the direction. Your brain's trying to talk you out
Yeah.
of something your heart is telling you to do. Your heart is that little bird in your shoulder.
Oh
So if
yeah.
your gut is telling you to do it and everybody around you is saying, you're crazy, may I suggest, after some soul searching and maybe a couple vibe walks, I'll bet you
Yeah.
your heart is right.
Absolutely love this. Thank you so
What's the
much.
worst that could happen? Everything blows up? Well, your life's probably blowing up now. So what's the difference?
How can we
Could it
tell our
get any
guests?
worse?
What's that? It can't
Could
get
it
any
get
worse.
any worse? That's what I usually ask.
How can we give, or what kind of tips can we give our listeners, our watchers, viewers, listeners, as far as how to sharpen their intuition? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, as far as like the things that I do to sharpen my intuition are go for walks, are exercise, or stay more on a positive. We're talking about vibration and frequency, but there's a lot of people that don't roll that way. You know, they don't
Yeah.
have the vibe talk or the frequency talk. So for your person out there that's listening that isn't down with that vibe talk, I mean, how can they naturally try to get their intuitive skills more sharp and pristine, if that's even the right word for it?
Here's an exercise everybody on the planet can do.
Okay.
I want you to be alone. That
Mhm.
means your cell phone, this is going to make some of you twitch, but I really like it needs to be off. There is an off button on the darn thing. If you're visibly twitching and fighting me on that, at least turn the volume off, right? And I don't really want it to vibrate, because if it vibrates, it's going to dance in your desk and you're going to say, ooh, who texted? That kind of thing. So put the cell phone away just for a few minutes, right? And then get a piece of paper and a pen,
Mhm.
or you can get a tablet. You can get your phone if you want. I actually prefer pen and paper, but whatever you want to do, your
Mhm.
laptop, I don't care. And now I want you to be alone. Other humans, little humans, dogs, I kind of want you alone. Now,
Okay.
if you have a dog who can be quiet, fine. And I'm not going to ask you to meditate, because not everybody can. So what I want you to do
Right.
is I want you to just pause. I want you to just sit quietly in the room. Listen to the hum of the refrigerator. Notice it. Listen to the vibrations of the house. Notice them. If you're in New York City or a big city, listen to the taxis and the street sounds. Just do that for a few minutes. And if words come into your head, that's fine. Push them away and just notice. Keep yourself on your surroundings. Notice where you are in that moment, right? And then I want you to ask a question. I want you to write it down. Why is the sky blue? Why am I always doing this?
Mm.
Where should I take my life? I actually don't care what you ask.
Yeah.
Why do birds fly? Whatever you want to ask. And then the first words that form in your mind, write them down. Don't judge them. Now let's take
Mhm.
into account that not everybody's going to hear words. So some of
Right.
you are going to hear words. Write them down, whatever they are. Don't judge the words. Don't even think about where the words are going or coming from, because that's a rabbit
Mm.
hole. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't matter where they're coming from. At the end of the day, they're coming from you, your higher self.
Hmm.
If you don't hear words and you see something in your head, write down the vision you're seeing. Maybe you're seeing a picture of birds flying. Write down, I'm seeing a picture of birds flying. Maybe you'll see a color. Well, I kind of see a pink room. Write down, I see a pink room. Maybe it's something in your past. Well, I'm seeing this. I'm remembering something that happened to me as a kid. Write down the memory.
Oh, wow.
If you're the feeling kind of person, what are you feeling after you ask that question? Are you feeling hot, cold, good, bad? What are you feeling? Are you
Mm-hmm.
feeling happy? Are you feeling sad? There's like thousands of feelings that you could be
Mm-hmm.
feeling. Write down what you're feeling. And if you're the clear cognizance, you're clear knowing,
Mm-hmm.
write down what you know. 1 minute you don't know it and ask the question, write down whatever you know, whatever words or visions or thoughts come into your head, write them down immediately, even if it's something that happened the yesterday. Do that a couple times. Then when it stops, ask another question. Do it again. Do this for like 2 or 3 days in a row and then go back and reread what you've written. And I am sure you're going to start to see a pattern. And there's a conversation that has just now been started. You're now having a conversation with the universe, your higher self, God, whatever you want to call it. But you've started a conversation. Keep going.
That's absolutely brilliant. And I love how you're saying to connect with yourself, put your phone away, put your phone down, your critters.
Mhm.
I've got two cats myself. Cats stay away and just really be with my own thoughts and be within my surroundings, listen to the
Yeah.
AC, the birds outside the cars driving, and just appreciate my surroundings, look around and be in the present moment. And based on the question that I asked before sitting with myself in that moment, see what words come in if I'm the type that gets words downloaded. Make sure that I'm not judging the information that comes through, write it down.
Right.
And but if I'm the type that sees things, like what am I seeing at that moment? Is it a memory? Is it a vision? Is it a color? And write that stuff down.
Write
And
down what you see.
yeah, write down what you see. And then also, if you're the type of person that feels through your intuition, your body tells you things. What are you feeling? Are you getting a stomach ache? Are you getting a pain on your leg? Or are you feeling queasy? Is your heart rate going up? And then write down the
Yeah.
sensations of what you're feeling. And so once you write this stuff down and you keep a journal, then you're able to, over 2 or 3 days, you're able to go back and see the pattern of answers that your higher self is giving you.
Because a lot of people, and that's exactly correct. And a lot of people, when you give them this exercise, well, I don't hear anything.
Mhm.
No, because you're probably not a hearing kind of person. So what are you feeling? What are you seeing in your head? What do you know? That's probably not everybody hears words in their head because they don't. That always baffles me. Somebody said when I read, I don't hear anything in my mind. And I'm thinking, how is that? I can't even wrap my head around that, to be
Yeah.
honest. And some people can't see their childhood bedroom. They just don't see anything. Everybody has different talents. Everybody can do this. You can also learn how to hear and learn how to be clairvoyant. It's like playing golf. You can learn how to play golf. You know, not everybody's going to be Tiger Woods, but you can learn how to play the game. So we all start with our first sense. Mine was clairaudient. The first thing I did was hear words in my head. First thing I ever heard in my life was, "Hi, my name is Christopher." What?
Hmm.
Okay. Um, that was a little odd. It was one of my guides. I was driving at the time, which I later yelled at him because I thought, I could have been in an accident. I could have died.
Right.
Right? But not it doesn't take special people to do this. Everybody on the planet can do this. Everybody. You just do it differently. Now, you and I do all four at the same time, and it is kind of a trip. Um, I hear words, but I feel. Sometimes I'll feel it in my body. I'll feel pain in my right side. Why am I feeling the pain in my right side? I mean, I
Yeah.
literally will do all of it all at once.
Yeah. Wow,
But I've
that's
been doing this a very long time.
and also in the beginning of this, when we first started recording, you mentioned something that was really great. That our higher self is gonna always give us messages of love.
Yep.
That's a really good way to decipher which voice, if we are the one that hears the voices in our head, or and not in the schizophrenic way. I mean, with all due respect, but I guess in a more connective way rather than disconnected. So if we connect that way with our intuitive voices, and in order for us to really decipher which is the higher voice, higher self voice, it's usually a positive, loving message.
It's always a positive, loving message. But again, we've all been conditioned that if you hear voices in your head, you're crazy and you probably need meds and a straitjacket.
Mm-hmm.
I want my straitjacket in purple, please, and a nice designer color. But it's your highest thought. It's your most loving thought. The voice, the other side, your higher self is not going to tell you to kill yourself. It's not going to tell you to kill somebody else. It's not going to give you one of those low vibrational. It's not going to give you one of those low vibrational messages. It's usually the softest, quietest voice. That's how you know. And if I really not convinced that I heard it right, especially if it's for somebody in my own family or something that I'm doing,
Yeah,
I'll actually ask a few days in a row to make sure I get it right. If I keep
absolutely.
getting the same gentle answer, and often it's just a gut feeling. I mean, it is a gut feeling. You get to the red light, you always turn left to go to work. You have a gut feeling you should turn right. You might hear the words turn right. It's a gut feeling.
Hmm.
And excuse me, my allergies are crazy today.
It's okay.
And all of a sudden you get this feeling you need to turn right. Now, let me be clear. You may never know why you had to turn right and go to the long way to work. But what probably happened is your higher self is you're avoiding an accident.
Hmm.
If you had turned left, something bad probably would have happened.
That's
We get
really.
so many people who get the urge not to take a flight and the flight goes down and they should have been in the plane. A
Hmm.
lot of people, there are a lot of stories out of 9/11 who got delayed or they just felt they shouldn't go into work that day and their lives were saved. These
Yeah.
are things that everyday people happen. It's a brilliant thing, and it's listening to your innate intuition. Animals do this all the time. There was a tsunami in the Southeast Asia. I want to say Thailand, maybe, and it was a huge tsunami. It happened about 15 years ago. And most interesting thing about it is the elephants were pulling their handlers to higher ground, even though the handlers were fighting it, were beating them, were saying, "What are you doing? You're going rogue. Our elephants are going crazy." They didn't listen. They were literally pulling the people to higher ground. Dogs were pulling people out of houses. The animals knew.
Yeah.
Humans will second guess it. Oh, tsunami, it's a beautiful day. We're going to second
Right.
guess it. We're going to sabotage it. Animals, they have an instinct about it. They don't second guess it. And those elephants saved a lot of lives that day.
Oh, how beautiful. How beautiful that is, really.
But
So
we
what
can
can
we
humans
have the
do?
same you have the same animal sense inside of you, except we're human and we're stupid and we talk ourselves out of it.
So what are the tactics? I mean, what can we do to sharpen our sixth sense?
I think that if you just be aware, once you Google the four ways, Google clairaudient, clairsentient, claircognizant, and clairvoyant. I always forget the fourth. And find out which one sings to your soul. One of the ways that I have spoken to is actually singing. Many people are sitting there going, "Yep, I do that. Yep, uh-huh." Whichever one sings to you, Google it and read about it.
Okay.
And start paying attention, being aware of it. Stop squashing it.
Hmm.
Purposely go out tomorrow and go to the grocery store and pay attention to it. See what comes up. Be aware of that sixth sense and use it and take a pad of paper and a pen or keep notes on your phone. And when you think something happened that came from that sixth sense, write it down. Keep a
Hmm.
running tab of exactly, well, this was amazing and this happened. Write it down. Well, I thought this and it happened. Write it down. Pay
Yeah.
attention. And that's going to sharpen your senses. And event pretty much at some point, you're going to start becoming really aware of it. And then you're going to be just like the rest of us. But imagine
Um,
if Fortune 500 companies would allow their employees to be their intuitive selves, to be their real
right.
selves. Imagine if they allowed everybody to utilize their sixth sense. Imagine what a company could do and how great it could be.
Absolutely agree with you. And companies and relationships
Yeah.
and is I mean, I'm assuming, I'm feeling that if we are able to be more of our or show or have more confidence with our intuitive skills, then that's us being authentic to our own
Mhm.
energetic signature.
The thing about your intuition is, and people are going to hate it when I say this, I apologize in advance, but anger, bitterness, rage, and regret will act as a shield and will block your intuitive
Thank you for
spider sense,
mentioning
if you
this.
will.
This is excellent. This is excellent.
And it will actually block it. And you're going to come to me and say, it's not working.
Hmm.
None of it. I'm none of them. Well,
Hmm.
you are, but you probably need to do a little forgiveness work.
Hmm.
It's not that I'm trying to promote my new book, but it's your unforgiveness is blocking your authentic self from coming through
Yes,
and
absolutely.
helping you in your life at a time where you desperately probably want the help. So
Right.
you're pleading to God and you're pleading to all these sources to help you. The help is inside of you. But the only reason you can't hear or see or feel or know your intuition is because your anger is actually blocking it.
That really makes sense. Anger,
Mhm.
bitterness, I mean, anything that's a low vibrational frequency is
Yep.
gonna block high vibrations. I mean,
It's
they're
keeping you
not the same
stuck.
channel.
It's keeping you stuck exactly where you are. And that's exactly what you don't want. You don't want to be stuck. You see, the thing about forgiveness, and I said this in the other episode, um, when on a 10 scale go back and watch the other episode because it was really good. On a
Yeah.
10 scale with 10 being unforgivable and one being the easiest person in the world to forgive, everybody thinks about their number 10 person and they don't want to think about their number 10, so nobody wants to forgive. And
Yeah.
that's the problem. So my system will start you with the easy ones and will allow you to help forgive the people, places, and things. And if you want to know why I'm saying places and things, buy my book or go watch that broadcast.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, that was episode 286 on
There you
how to
go.
forgive. Yeah, that was really incredible. Thank you.
But it is blocking your intuitive sense. My older son calls it his spider sense, like Spider-Man kind of thing. But it's it's gonna block that spidey sense because it acts like a shield that's all the way around you, and you literally can't feel your intuition. Now, the thing about the little bird in your shoulder, it's gonna get through. 100%. There's going to be a crack in your armor. That little sucker will get through. That's why you get flashes of wisdom. That's why you get flashes of where your life should be. You get these flashes of love that come through
Yeah.
because it's a love vibration and the love vibration gets through all of it. Imagine if you lost all of your anger and bitterness and you lost all of that. Imagine how your world would change.
Oh, I can't even imagine. It would just blossom.
It would blossom and you would become the person you came to this planet to be. And our world is broken right now. And we need authentic beings to be present and be on the planet now to hold the light because there's just so much darkness out there.
There really is. And thank you for sharing your light here on A Little Less Fear podcast. Once
My
again, for the second
pleasure.
time,
My
absolutely been
pleasure.
amazing communicating with you and connecting with you and sharing this beautiful energy. So I have a poem that I meant to read at the beginning, but but here it goes. I'm gonna go ahead and share a poem that I wrote here, dedicated to our episode today. If I'm not tuned into myself, what am I tuned into? If I'm not swimming in my own energy, whose pool am I dipping my body in? It was drowning my own I was drowning in my own ocean where that's when I discovered that I could float, go with the current and trust my inner North Star. My intuition is my light, my truth, my integrity, and my divine love. That's what I found. I know, short but sweet, but that's what I found.
I love that poem.
Oh, thank you.
That's
Thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I know you're a poet yourself.
Well, I've written a couple books. I don't know if I've written any
Yeah.
poems. I've written a few books.
Yeah, you sure have. So where can our viewers, watchers, and listeners find you and your books?
You can go to my website, which is katharinegiovanni.com. And thanks to my mother, my first name is spelled a little odd. Thanks, Mom. Katharine Giovanni.com. And you can also find my books on Amazon as well.
Katharine Giovanni, everybody here on a Little Less Fear podcast. So incredible to connect and be talking about our sixth sense, which I really find fascinating. I hope that the listeners and the viewers and the watchers are able to integrate this part of their life so they can be a better version of themselves and really make a difference in their life because they can simply by tuning in and figuring out what their true answer is. And those true answers are the answers that's going to navigate them towards a better life. Them and there's a ripple effect, them and all around them. Talk to you
Truth.
next time. Thank you, everybody. Talk to you soon. Have a great day. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to A Little Less Fear podcast. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends and your family about A Little Less Fear podcast. And if you are interested in being on my show, feel free to leave me an email at alittlelessfear@gmail.com. Or if you have any questions or comments and you also want to leave me an additional message, you can also do so from my website, leaving an inquiry at www.alittlelessfear.com. You can get a copy of my book on Amazon, Amazon Kindle, and Amazon Kindle Unlimited, also titled A Little Less Fear. And thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate all the support. Leave me a review if you get a chance. I love to receive feedback, questions, and comments. And any way that I can be of support to you, please let me know. Thank you so much. I love you. Wishing you love, light, happiness, and many blessings your way.